30. Biotech Terror. When biology became a security problem, the prediction, what we thought. In the late 1990s, a chilling idea began to circulate beyond military and scientific circles. Biology itself could become a weapon. Not nuclear bombs or chemical gas, but engineered pathogens, tailored viruses, modified bacteria. Attacks that spread invisibly, silently, and exponentially. Small groups, or even individuals, could wield destructive power once reserved for states. In this future, terror would not arrive with explosions. It would arrive with incubation periods. Standing in 1999, this prediction felt extreme, but disturbingly plausible. Biotechnology was becoming cheaper, faster, and more accessible. If science could cure disease, it could also create it. Why this prediction made sense in 1999. To understand why biotech terrorism entered serious discussion, you have to recall the uneasy convergence of trends at the end of the century. In the 1990s, genetic engineering tools were spreading beyond elite labs. Information about pathogens became widely available. Cold War deterrence frameworks were dissolving. Non-state actors were gaining asymmetric power. The barrier to entry for biological experimentation was falling. At the same time, the consequences of misuse were rising. Unlike traditional weapons, biological agents are hard to detect early, difficult to attribute, capable of uncontrolled spread. From the Millennium-era perspective, this represented a new class of risk, one that didn't fit existing security models. Biology blurred the line between accident and attack, between public health and national defense. For younger readers today, it's important to stress that this fear predated modern pandemics. The concern wasn't hindsight-driven, it was anticipatory. Experts were worried not because disaster had happened, but because the ingredients were aligning. Who said it? And where? One of the most influential articulations of this threat came from Richard Preston, whose 1997 novel The Cobra Event depicted a fictional bioterror attack using an engineered pathogen. Though a work of fiction, the book was meticulously researched and taken seriously by policymakers. It portrayed a scenario where biological expertise, once confined to state programs, became accessible enough to be weaponized by extremists. The novel helped crystallize a fear that experts already held: biotechnology's dual-use nature. The same tools that advanced medicine could, in the wrong hands, enable catastrophe. By the late 1990s, biotech terror was no longer science fiction. It was a recognized security concern. What actually happened, 2000 to 2025? Biotech terrorism did not erupt as a constant or dominant threat, but neither did it disappear. The early 2000s brought sobering reminders of vulnerability. Biological agents were used in limited attacks. Preparedness frameworks expanded. Biosecurity became a permanent feature of national defense planning. Over the following decades, surveillance systems improved. Global health coordination strengthened. Regulations tightened around dangerous research. At the same time, biotechnology continued to advance. Tools became more powerful and more accessible. Synthetic biology lowered barriers further. What once required state-scale resources increasingly required only expertise and intent. By the 2020s, the world had experienced large-scale biological disruption, though not always through deliberate attack. These events reinforced a critical insight: impact matters more than intent. By 2025, biotech terror remained an active concern, not because it was common, but because it was plausible. The risk persisted, even without frequent realization. Verdict: status, ongoing risk. Biotech terrorism has not become a routine reality, but it remains a credible, serious threat. The prediction was not about inevitability, it was about possibility. And that possibility still exists. Why it played out this way? The central insight of the prediction was correct. Biology is inherently dual-use. What tempered its realization was counterbalance. As biotechnology advanced, so did safeguards. Ethical norms strengthened. International cooperation expanded. The scientific community largely embraced responsibility alongside capability, but the risk never vanished. Unlike nuclear weapons, biological tools are diffuse. They cannot be fully centralized or contained. Prevention relies on vigilance, trust, and global coordination, fragile assets in a fragmented world. The future didn't deliver constant biotech terror, it delivered permanent biotech anxiety. What this prediction teaches us about the future. This case highlights a critical forecasting lesson. Some predictions are about risk landscapes, not outcomes. Biotech Terror was never meant to be a calendar event. It was a structural shift, the movement of destructive capability into domains that are harder to police. In 1999, this fear reflected unease about power escaping institutions. In 2026, it reflects a world where science moves faster than governance. The future delivered astonishing biological tools. It also delivered the burden of guarding them. One-sentence takeaway. We didn't enter an age of constant bioterror, but we did enter an age where biology itself demands constant vigilance.